let me explain to you my philosophy.
Yeah.
I'm a banana tree, let's say. Okay. I see this pear tree, social media, and I want to dabble into that. I've got banana fruits, banana leaves.
Yeah.
But I want to be this small and neat pear tree. You know? And so what I realize is when I dabble in here, I get shaky, and then I go, oh, this is not for me. I go back to what's comfortable.
Ah, yeah, gotcha.
And it's not because of this thing, I'm not consistent because I feel,
Yeah.
So then I thought about my roots. Maybe I have to change my roots, because then I can, or either I graft myself onto that tree. But essentially what I'm saying is, why don't I feel that I can be this pear tree? It's because I feel like deep inside, and that's what you're helping me transform, is the idea of value and meaning.
And your identity.
And your identity. And so it feels really shaky here. And sometimes I always ask myself, is this really, am I built for this, really?
So you know what we talk about, limiting beliefs?
Yep.
Limiting belief number one is containing yourself into one type of tree. All right? And then limiting belief number two is thinking you have to choose between that tree or another tree.
Ooh.
Or you're forced to collect attributes of both, grafting, right? But what if the ideas in a tree and another tree, and what makes them different, what makes them similar, and the forest, and the mountains, and the rivers, and the valleys, what if it was just all ideas and you were designed to build at the idea level, not at the manufactured organism level that's evolved to something down the track? Because you've inherited the banana tree as, good metaphor of a banana tree, and the whole point of entity politics was, come on, man, you're an entity.
You're not the banana tree.
I don't know how to break this gently to you. Aslan, you were not a banana tree. Maybe you need therapy for this. This podcast is not going to be enough to help you.
No, I need more help than I thought.
This banana entity, identity.
I knew you were going to say that.
I identify with a banana.
I deserve that. Okay,
Of course you deserved it.
I get
banana man.
I get what you mean. We are the entity.
No. Banana.
I used to have a friend who used to sing that to me.
Really?
Yeah. Banana, banana, fofana.
Benny, Buberi, Fafana, Feri, Fuferi.
Yeah, and then it keeps going. But it's my name.
I made up a whole song using that and just literally went through the whole alphabet instead, just to make a fun children's song.
No way.
Yeah. That's really funny. You should say that.
Banana, fofana, fi, fofana.
Yeah, similar to that, but I just made up my own version of that. That's really interesting. Anyway, going back to the serious
entity.
The entity. Like, look, why do I call... See, I don't say limiting beliefs normally. I just call them ideas. Ideas are assumptions. Any idea you come up with, you look closely at it, it's already got ideas in relationship with one another. Remember step 3, imagination, deconstructing ideas.
Yeah.
So for example, if you go brushing teeth is a good idea, well, yeah, but there's already ideas like toothpaste, the brush, the teeth, all these ideas come together, and then including the foam, the minerals, everything breaks down to how the full ecosystem of that idea of brushing teeth. You with me?
Got it.
Plaque being ground down, all this sort of stuff, right? So every idea you can break it down, even down a mineral, you can break that down to subatomic particles that make up the molecules that make up that particular mineral.
Okay.
Everything just keeps breaking down, right? Yeah. The point here is ideas like Lego pieces. If we're playing Lego, right, and you have individual pieces, you can make anything.
Yeah.
But if I've already built pre-manufactured walls and structures, and I go, there you go, you're not allowed to break down those to individual Legos. You can only build from those. Now you're restricted. You can still be creative, but you're restricted by the fabricated limitations of the shapes that are and structures that I've given you.
Right.
Now, you're not designed to be forced into that prefabrication. You are designed to question any structure, deconstruct it down to individual Lego blocks, dismantle any of them, and reshape it any way you like.
In other words, that banana tree has to go.
So, do you remember the song Meaning Maker?
Yeah.
That's how you recreate a meaningful life, because you're not inheriting the paradigm of dogmas where you feel that you're a banana tree. You see? Like you said to me, oh, George, apple, pear tree, but the banana tree issue. And I'm going, yeah, because your brain is wired to make you think you are a specific identity, and it's made you think that the other thing is another specific identity, and that your path from A to B is to somehow stop being one so you can be more of the other, to be accepted, right? What I would say to you is look closer. Look closer at the individual blocks that make the banana tree and make the apple tree, and you'll notice it's all presumptions. It's all just loaded assumptions that don't have to be there.
That's what I was about to say. They're all assumptions. So the assumptions are the building blocks
Yeah,
to
that's
make
right.
you into what you think you are.
That's
and so
right.
all this is about deconstructing those assumptions.
That's right. And the brain is an assumption machine. Associations are assumptions. You're associating the idea with another idea. The brain wires ideas together for you to create the texture of how you relate to something. Your raised voice might make me feel judgmental and anxious because I think a raised voice is leading to violence. Your raised voice may make me feel, oh my gosh, you don't feel heard. I'm going to lean in and give you compassion.
Right.
And I'm going to create loyalty and companionship with you.
Got it.
See how those two assumptions created a fight and an enemy or a loyal friend.
Ooh.
Assumptions are what shape and create reality. But when you're a kid and you're told by everyone, you're a banana tree, you're a banana tree, you're a banana tree, you're not a pear tree, you're not a pear tree. And then, we're just kids. We're just like, okay, then. And the brain's just being immersed and told. It's been programmed. And the neurons come and they go, I'm a banana tree. A banana tree is me, is who I am, identity. It's like we're just being brainwashed into who we are, culturally, everything.
So then how do you identify which assumptions are blocking you? This is through the deconstruct, isn't it? Through think, act, and feel.
Work backwards. Where's the pain? Where does the heart feel dissatisfied? Where does it feel disconnected? Where do you feel you're numbing yourself because you're sick of being hurt? You got to feel pain again. So part of our problem is we block the pain through self-medication and through prescription medication instead of using pain to understand what assumptions do not serve.
Ooh, that is so good. Because nobody wants to revisit the pain because it feels like...
Who wants pain? But you know that saying, no pain, no gain? In balance, it's very powerful because the pain talks. You can decode pain. And emotional pain is about purpose. It's about connection and your sustainable value exchange. So, yeah, you work backwards from the pain. But half the battle is people are in the habit of not even feeling the pain anymore.
Not wanting to even
And
go
that's
near
scary.
the pain.
That's scary. That's like putting a glass between you and your heart so you can't even reach what your heart feels and wants. Like a glass wall saying, no, I'm sick of my heart being hurt, so I'm just not going to feel it anymore. We need to feel again.
How did you traverse that during your growth to where you're at now? Like we talked about your struggles. Like where
With great difficulty.
were you alone the entire time?
I did feel alone for a while because it was like there was no one around me to talk about this stuff. And then even when I learned enough, interesting esoteric knowledge and I started to think of us beyond an identity from an entity, I still was kind of alone. I had a few friends that were fascinated by it, and I swear to you, we'd go to clubbing, then we'd leave the club at say 1 or 2 in the morning. We'd go park somewhere, and we would have deep philosophical talks about the meaning of life for 2-3 hours
Wow.
instead of clubbing.
It's really bizarre.
Yeah, I know, because it was a passion. It's like we wanted to understand life, what makes it meaningful. And also, we did not like the idea that we were in our own reality bubble of a status, of a class of person. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I hated the pecking order. I'm actually offended by the idea that there are higher levels of people and lower levels of people. It's like, what? It's like, and then they have to sell us that people are genetically gifted. I'm sorry, genes has a role, but so does epigenetics. All right, we already know this. This has happened. You take 2 children, one from a rich family, one from a poor family. You swap them at birth. The person will grow up in the rich family and think like them, and then their genes will somehow activate gifts because the environment says I know you're capable and you can. And the rich guy will just be constantly in the toxic limiting beliefs of that environment that tells them life is hard and people are bullying and harassing and all that. And then they grow up very different. So the point here is, where is the responsibility for governments, for education to say your environment is critical to who you become? If you're in a banana plantation, it doesn't matter if you're an apple tree, you're going to go, all I see is bananas. And because you were designed to evolve, you'll evolve into a banana, a tree as well.
Right.
Because everything keeps telling you you're in banana land. You know what I mean?
I love this banana tree.
Yeah, so do I. It's very nice. I'm glad you came up with it. Anyway, we regress. I was going to talk about my struggle.
Yeah, so I was asking you whether you were alone throughout your struggle. At what point did you have a point where you went, oh, what is this assumption here? I need to deconstruct this and then move forward.
Yeah,
Because
well, I didn't know how to deconstruct. All I knew was I would be thinking about things that pissed me off. But and I remember creating perspective on it as best as I could based on what I was learning. But I didn't know how to shock myself enough through a deconstruct. You see, okay, let me explain the difference between the two. When you are thinking about something, you're entertaining ideas that are good, and you are entertaining that some of your ideas are bad, okay? If the brain is given this awareness, it goes, oh, we may be wrong about some things. That might be right. It sounds nice to think differently there. But that's not compelling for a brain to change. At that point, it's entertaining that there may be a truth, and that maybe the truth it thinks it has, is not true. It's entertaining.
right.
Right? So the subconscious doesn't recalibrate. It's why you can think you've made a decision to change, and you don't. Right? It's because the subconscious needs a better engagement, a more compelling facilitation of how those ideas that are posing as truth are actually catastrophically wrong and causing self-harm. You can't give the brain the opinion.
Yeah.
You have to give it all the facts, all the data interconnected around it, so the brain goes, oh shit, that's wrong. And it has a visceral reaction.
Yeah.
And that's, for us, it's shock, and it rewires. So the deconstruct happened much later, only 15 years ago, properly, with me sitting with what were the times where I changed, and what were the times where whatever I learned actually did change me. And I studied that, and I wanted to know the exact process, and that's how the deconstruct happened. And it coincidentally did align with CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, but because I looked at the individual blocks of Legos, I was able to see a more robust, structured, systematic way to do it properly, more deeply, than this ad hoc, oh, tell me what you feel, tell me, do you agree with that? Like a psychologist will do a good job of letting you sit with what your thoughts, feelings, what you're doing is, and then it will facilitate you into an observer of that, right? It doesn't really take you into what are the deeper underlying assumptions that make you feel, act that way. It will try to get you to be as conscious as possible with the right questions to kind of pepper around it. And it does help. So CBT is known to be very impactful, but it doesn't go deep. And then it doesn't run a principle analysis to show you that the things you know are universally true, you are at odds with. And it gives you 52 points of reference of that. So the brain goes, oh my gosh, I was never going to win. I literally trashed my entire wisdom that's universal off these dumb assumptions that block my own wisdom, right? I didn't have that until 15 years ago.
But that not having helped you develop it, right? Like it fueled you to go.
Yeah, it's true
it.
because I got frustrated because 10 years of spending 150 grand on my personal development, I got sick of damming up with knowledge and not translating enough of it into my habits and into seeing the life differently enough to create more of what I knew I could create in reality. You see?
Well, I think everybody can resonate
I
with
got
that.
sick of that.
Yeah.
It's like sick of knowing better. And so that's what happened 15 years ago. Do I have regrets? No. Do I have regrets that I ran away from my dreams for decades, not knowing I was running away? I thought I was making legitimate, responsible decisions to not put myself into positions where I was trying to achieve when I really wasn't that capable. I thought I was being smart. I thought I was being practical to only go after things I could succeed in. And because I didn't have a history with family in music, I didn't go there.
Right.
I avoided it. And then my best friend had to talk me into doing music at school. And then later, I forgot all about music, even though I had this ache in my heart and to want to write lyrics. And, you know the story. But the point is, I just kept running away from my dreams for decades.
Because of false assumptions.
Because of assumptions that I'm a banana tree like you. And I don't know how to be the pear tree for that music dream, for that film directing dream, for that, like it's the same thing, isn't it? And I think everyone now is thinking, shit, I think I'm a banana tree too in certain areas of my life, thinking I need to be another tree. And so what I'm saying is, no. Just walk away from the banana tree slowly.
Yeah.
Look at it. It's manufactured. Keep the aspects you like the potassium and the nice flavor of the tree.
I'm on this journey as well of, with growth,
Totally.
when you're reinventing yourself, you're sort of like dabbling in the dark.
Exactly.
You don't know what the hell you're doing.
Exactly.
And you're just, okay, I trust this, I trust that. And so I hope what people will see is this, in my channel, I have so many things that I'm dabbling in. And people often say, Asna, it's your ADHD. But it's not. It is me trying to find my way, reinventing myself to see, because I feel like I'm a motivator. I am an uplifter by nature.
Yeah.
I've always been like this to my son, to my wife, to everybody.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can't do it online because who am I? And so I'm going through this journey of I'm going to change all of this banana tree concept and look at all of my strengths and all the false assumptions that go, maybe because I don't speak eloquently. Okay, then how am I going to speak eloquently? A teleprompter. How am I going to do this, that? I just made it to a point where I have no more excuses, and then with the reframing of the assumptions. So I feel like I can relate when you're talking about this stuff because it's quite scary, man.